If you want historical accuracy in your video games, well, that's a euphemism. A euphemism for what? I wonder, Waypoint. What could you be possibly saying about people's criticism of Battlefield 5? Could it be that you're claiming that people don't like women in their video games? Let me start by saying this. I am not the biggest gamer in the world. I do have a bunch of tabletop game stuff here. I got like Magic the Gathering, and I do play video games. Most recently, Fallout 76, which has become a disaster after they've made the game worse for some reason, but I'm not going to go on a rant about that. I do like games with historical accuracy. Sometimes they're fun and educational. I made a video about a publisher that was being banned from the App Store on iTunes because the villain, the enemy you fought against, was the Taliban, real people. And Apple said that's a no-no. I think historical games can be educational and fantastic. Apparently, if you agree with that sentiment, that you like look, I play World of Warcraft too. Yes, I like games where I can shoot magic fireballs and fight dragons, and sometimes I like games where you reenact campaigns from historical moments. Those are fun games. They're different. But apparently, if you agree with that sentiment, you must be a bigot. Because here's how they do it. Here's what they say. When developer DICE revealed that Battlefield 5 would feature playable female soldiers, depicting them as fighting on the front lines of World War II, there was a swift and predictable backlash. Taking issue on the grounds of historical accuracy, there was a particular group of players who vehemently argued that women almost never served in regular combat on the Western Front. Now, let's be fair. There certainly were people online who had these opinions. But for some reason, all of these journalists, either willfully or just ignorantly, believe that 50 people online represents the entire community of gamers. And that's basically what happens. They like, some people get mad, they go crazy about it, and then they take those tweets and say, look, this is everybody. And I have to imagine some of them are just not very bright, and some of them know exactly what they're doing. But I just want to point something out. The swift and predictable backlash wasn't about women. Okay, let me put it this way. Was there a backlash about historical accuracy in Battlefield 5? Yes. Was it because there were women running around fighting alongside men? Marginally. Some people probably, took issue with some of those aspects. But let me tell you what the real anger is about. It's the fact that the woman was a cyborg, okay? Cyborg women with purple hair and fancy, colorful makeup. And what is it like? There's like a German guy fighting for the Allies with a Japanese sword. Like, at a certain point, you have to realize that some things are just downright silly. And if you're marketing your game, they are, as a World War II battlefield game, which they still are, you have to understand, when you say, this game is about World War II, and you can play as a cyborg woman wielding a Japanese sword fighting for the Allies with German guns, people are going to be like, what is this? Like, dude, if I want to play a game where I'm a cyborg with weapons, let me play a cyborg weapons game. I'll play Destiny, fight aliens. But if I want to play a game where World War II, because admittedly, it would be cool to play a World War II game, well then give me my World War II game. But apparently, you're a bigot. They say, less predictable was the fact that Creative Assembly would make a point of changing Total War Rome 2, now several years into its life, to feature female generals. Again, a game studio found itself criticized by players who argued that women leading armies in the classical world isn't historically accurate. What distinguishes these controversies in a landscape that too often features routine harassment of women working in games and complaints about feminist perspectives making their way into more and more corners of gaming is that in both of these cases, these complaints had a grain of truth to them. Thank you, Waypoint. That's interesting. Both DICE and Creative Assembly were choosing depictions of history that were debatably ahistorical. In each case, where we find appeals to historical accuracy, however, we also encounter the flaws with historical accuracy as a concept. It's a term that supposes the existence of an objectively knowable past, a view which hurts more than it helps when it comes to understanding history. What? Okay, those who forget their past are doomed to repeat it. I don't think that's the exact quote, but please, can I just tell you that sometimes historical accuracy is important, not a flaw that supposes the existence of an objectively knowable past, a view which hurts more than it helps when it comes to understanding history. Wait, hold on. Can we read this again? Okay. The flaws with historical accuracy as a concept. It's a term that supposes the existence of an objectively noble past. A view which hurts more than it helps when it comes to understanding history. What kind of insane double speak is this? They're saying because there is an objectively knowable past, it hurts more than it helps when it comes to understanding history. No. Objective reality is literally the understanding of reality. Now, I get what they're saying. I think I understand what they're trying to say, that history is written by the winners, by the victors, and thus we don't necessarily know what really happened. Maybe they're implying there were female generals in Rome, but they were all written out of history because that would, because patriarchy or something. But please, this sentence is a string of gobbledygook. There is an objectively knowable past. There is. Sometimes it can be muddy, right? Sometimes it can be subjective. But there are certain things about the past that literally are historically accurate. For instance, if I said there were Nazis in Germany in World War II, is that objectively knowable? It absolutely is. So then you have to explain to me why so many games are trying to remove that imagery because it's offensive? Okay, if we said that there, I don't want to talk necessarily about Rome, I'm not an expert on Rome, but if I asked you this question, were there cyborg women with Japanese swords in German tanks fighting alongside the Allies in World War II? Objectively, no. There weren't. Please. Actually, I'm going to say this. I wish, and I think many of you wish too, I wish there were cyborg women wielding Japanese and German weapons fighting alongside the Allies with, crazy hair, because that sounds fantastic and fun and exciting, but that's fantasy. It's not reality, and this sentence is nonsense. Kingdom Come Deliverance was staked much because of identity and setting on this idea of there being something concrete and quantifiable about the distant past. Well, there is. But in reality, this was less proof of the game's commitment to historical accuracy than a refusal to question its own biases when it came to the ethnic and sociological history of Europe. In every case, we find an appeal to history as an objective source of truth and judgment about the past. This is naive. What? The fact is that history, how we view it, the stories we tell about it, the things depicted as normal and opposed to aberrations, is highly political. Yes, that's true. More importantly, your attempt at refuting objective history or rejecting those who make an argument in favor of objective history is a political attempt to erase history. Okay, let me say this. When we talk about the far left and the far right, we are talking about a bunch of different things, and it's perceived differently by different people. On the political compass, left is cooperative, right is competitive. So the right, in this sense, is about free market, and the left, in this sense, is about socialism. However, when we're in the United States talking about the left and the right, we're talking about two completely different things. A nebulous term that describes tribe, and sometimes doesn't even agree within itself. However, when people refer to the far right in terms of like white supremacists, this is where we're talking about progress versus tradition. You see, this is why I hate the left and the right thing, because people don't know which one you're referring to. Okay, the left believes in progress, and this is why we see like the Great Leap Forward in China. Destroy everything from the past because the past holds you back. They want to eliminate tradition. And the far right, in the cultural sense, wants to preserve tradition. And then centrists are like, yo, we can change some stuff, but let's keep the cool things that were really great about the past, like freedom, liberty, liberal democracy, and then progress towards expanding those rights to all peoples, right? That's the game plan. This article says to me, like, I think this is a reason why historical accuracy is a culture war battle, for real. Because there are people who want tradition and history, and there are people who want to erase that and put cyborg women with purple hair in World War II so they can get rid of the past and rewrite history. And then you have what's actually going on. Who's actually mad? Regular people who just want to play video games, who don't care about any of this. Now let me make the more important point about Total War Rome 2. They want to add feminist perspectives and female generals. I will tell you why so many people are mad about this. It's not because there's female generals necessarily. It's because feminist politics, these are not the people who are playing the game. Basically, if you're not a gamer, let me try and explain give you a scenario. Let's say you're sitting outside playing hopscotch with your friends, and you're doing, 1, 2, skidoo, whatever. When all of a sudden, your neighbor comes out and says, "Hey, you shouldn't have those squares there. You get out of the street. You can't do that. You guys shouldn't be jumping. Jumping is dangerous and it's oppressive, and only certain people can jump that well, so it's not fair." And you're sitting there like, "Dude, can I just play hopscotch?" And so then he gets all his friends together. They come to the kid with the chalk and say, "Don't draw the hopscotch for them ever again. Draw it a different way." And the chalk person's like, "All right, if that's what you guys want." And then you're sitting there playing hopscotch going like, "Dude, these people don't even play hopscotch. Why are we changing our game for people who don't even play it?" That's the issue. What's happening so much with the debate in gaming is that people want to shape culture by often erasing the past or just changing what is presented to people who play games, forcing them into a worldview when they just want to play video games. Like, that's the famous meme, "I just wanted to play video games." People say it all the time. Again, not the biggest gamer in the world, but I can certainly understand where there are people who are like, "Man, it'd be really cool to play like a World War II simulator." And then all of a sudden a bunch of people who never buy the game are like, "You should have cyborg women in it, and if you don't, you're a bigot." And historical accuracy is a euphemism for just not liking feminism. Like, they're saying, they're calling you a misogynist for playing video games. Whatever, this article is gobbledygook nonsense. There is an objective past. There is. Not all of history is objectively true. Some of it is. Like, again, if I said Chinese people live in China, that's a fact, and they have historically. If I said that there were cyborg women in Nazi Germany fighting for the Allies, that is objectively not true, and that will never be true. Never, because objectively that's not possible. And so this is their argument apparently. They're saying basically that historical accuracy is flawed because we don't know what history was actually like, therefore put cyborg women in World War II. No, if you want to make something historically accurate, you can get it as accurate as possible. Plain and simple. Yes, there were Nazis in Germany. That's a fact. Cyborg women, never going to be true. No possibility it was true. There is no circumstance in which some historian said, "Let's write all of the cyborg women out of Nazi Germany." No, sorry, that's just not how it works. Look, this is what's frustrating, but I guess plain and simple. Make me a video game, make it what it is, I'll buy it. But I'll tell you what, game developers, if you start making games for people who don't play them, then who's going to buy your game? That is something only an insane person would do. The way I described it, like in one of my videos the other day, is like, imagine if you love, I can't remember what game I was talking about. I was talking about Battlefield. But let's look at this another analogy before I sign off on this video, because I'll rant forever. Imagine you enjoy chocolate ice cream, and the ice cream company sells a ton of chocolate ice cream. Here's my Battlefield 5 analogy. All of a sudden, one day, they market the new, amazing, best chocolate ice cream ever made, and you're like, "Ooh, I'm into that." And then all of a sudden they show you a commercial, and there's like broccoli and spinach sticking out of it, and you're like, that's not what I like. And then a bunch of people are saying, "If you don't like broccoli and spinach, you're a bigot." And those people campaigning to put broccoli in your chocolate ice cream, yeah, they're like, broccoli's good for you. You should be having broccoli more. Broccoli is something you should eat. It's nutritious, so we'll put it in your chocolate ice cream. Therefore, you'll like it. Surprise, surprise, nobody wants to buy broccoli and chocolate ice cream. And so Battlefield 5 flops. Why don't you make chocolate ice cream for those who like chocolate ice cream, and make cabbage and broccoli ice cream for those who want that? I'll tell you what, no one's gonna buy it, but then maybe you shouldn't do it. Whatever, I'm done ranting. More videos to come. Just click my name, they're up. I'll see you in a minute.